tonight we are in part 3, hold them up, 3 of a conversation called Live Inspired. Live Inspired, all right? Somebody say inspired. In this conversation, we began by saying there's only a few things that really inspire me, all right? And if you took notes, maybe some of these will stick out to you. But we began by saying this, that I feel really inspired when I realize the need that I have. And when I realize that someone else paid the cost to fill that need in my life. And we kind of tied that back to Jesus, and I gave the baseball illustration, if you remember that. So that's what we talked about week 1. Week 2, last week, we said this, that I'm also inspired when I am uncomfortable with what's going on around me or within me. So if I'm having like a bad attitude and I realize that, I'm like, I don't like that I have a bad attitude right now, I'm inspired to fix my attitude. Or if I have some friends around me who have bad attitudes and I don't feel comfortable with them having bad attitudes, I'm inspired to influence their attitude in a positive way, all right? So that's a brief summary of 1 and 2. You go to our YouTube channel to catch up, because here's what you need to know about next week. Everybody say next week. And now repeat after me each of these phrases, okay? I will bring a friend and a question. There we go. You're done now, all right? So here's what you want to do. Next week, bring a friend with you and bring a question about this conversation that we've had, because this moment next week, instead of just giving a message to you, we're going to open up the floor to where you can write down your question that you have about what we've discussed, or maybe something else related to the Bible, or something that kind of ties in, something that came to your mind during this conversation, and you can ask those questions and we'll answer them, okay? So bring a question, and we'll go a little bit deeper, because we want to make sure that you understand the conversation and are a part of our conversation each month. Sound good? Awesome. And the last thing I'll tag it with is if you already have some questions about our next conversation about love, sex, and dating, and you want to make sure that, hey, Josh, if you could just make sure you mention this or talk about this next month, you can put that on the card as well, and we'll try to, see if we can slide that in there, okay? Cool. But tonight, all right, tonight it's a new conversation. Same conversation, but a new topic about it. And tonight, if you were going to take notes and write this down, the title would be To Lead from the Back. Everybody say lead. We want you to leave tonight inspired to be a leader who leads from the back. Point behind you. Yeah. Back, all right? Back there. So here's what we're going to talk about a little bit, or while we're kind of bringing this up. I think that it's easy to be inspired. It's easy to get motivated, right? And I wanted to play a clip of like a hype coach. Maybe you played on a team and there was the coach that gave the pregame talk or the halftime talk. Or maybe you're in an extracurricular group, and anytime you're feeling down, that coach or whoever it is for that group, your dance team or whatever, comes in and says, all right, tonight is the night. And they just motivate you. Anyway, I don't know if you have that in your life. Someone that just, when they open up their mouth, there's just like energy. And you're like, I just feel better about who I am all of a sudden. Those kind of people. I think that each of you can be those kind of people. And you're like, nah, Josh, I ain't got that gift like they do. I don't bring that energy. It's like, you don't have to do that. Here's why. So let's do like a quick little quiz, and you can kind of answer some of these out loud. For example, answer this one out loud. Who is someone that you follow? And you answer out loud. So think of a name. It could be a celebrity on Instagram, Snapchat, or something. It could be an actual person that you know that you have a conversation. So on the count of 3, name the person you follow. 1, 2, 3. Jesus, I like that. All those are good. All those are good. Did anyone say Post Malone? I'm just kidding. The clean. Maverick City, that's a good one too. So now, okay, that's the person you follow. That's the person you follow. So real quick, if I could use Wyatt. Can I use you for an example real quick? I need a lot of help on this message tonight. Hey, everyone, welcome Wyatt to the stage. Woo-hoo! He's grabbing shirts. He's got the clean Crocs, and he's still grabbing shirts. So if you would, Wyatt, you stand right there. And so I just asked, like, who are some people that you follow? And people name some people. So that would be an example of if I was following Wyatt, so if you face that way, I'm all caught up on everything about Wyatt. I'm like, man, Wyatt with the good hair. That's what I call him to myself. I don't know if anyone else, but that's my nickname in my mind that I call him. And I'm like, man, Wyatt with the red hoodie, though. Like, the hoodie game's strong with Wyatt. And clearly the Croc game's, so like, all of a sudden, my shopping cart on Amazon, I'm looking for things that look like, because I'm following Wyatt with the good hair. And now I got to go to my barber, shout out to Amy, Pinky's Chop Shop, and be like, hey, can I get the Wyatt special? And then she's going to look at me and say, Josh, your hair isn't set up to do the things that Wyatt's hair does, right? You know, so it's like you're going to have to miss that dream. But needless to say, I'm following Wyatt. I want to know what he's doing, and I'm looking in on his conversation. So on Insta, I'm swiping. I'm looking at everything that Wyatt is doing because I'm following Wyatt. All right, can everyone celebrate Wyatt with the good hair? I appreciate you, Wyatt. So it is so easy to follow someone, right? It's a button on Instagram, but even in life, I can just look at what they're doing and try to mimic it myself and then wonder, like, man, it's so easy for them. I'll never be like them. I just want to follow them and keep in touch with what they're doing. And I just wanted to come and say, don't compare your everyday life to someone else's highlight reel. Don't get on the gram and say, oh, look at them. Their makeup is just all and everything, and their eyebrows and everything. That is their highlight reel. No one is posting the real struggle that they're going through. You don't know how long it took them to even get that one filtered picture on Instagram. And you're chasing someone else's highlight reel, but you haven't lived their real life, right? So it's easy to follow. So real quick, I need to ask you this question. Who is someone that you're leading? It's easy to follow. So I want you to think of a name, a person, an animal, I don't know, and think, who is someone that you are leading? So think about it, think about it, think about it. All right, on the count of 3, say their name. So 1, 2, 3. Awesome. I hope you're doing a great job. Did anyone name a pet? Like, I'm leading them to go outside to use the bathroom and bring them back. Right. So exactly. So that's what I thought people would say. She said, I don't lead anyone to do anything. And I thought that's what you might say. Like, when I counted to 3, I kind of thought the room was going to be like silent. And you're going to say, like, I'm not leading anyone. But I would, that's awesome. I do lead. So check this out. You actually are a leader, because leadership, a definition of leading someone, simply means that you have influence with someone. So if you have a connection to people, you are leading people. If it's a sibling, a family member, even a parent, right? You're doing something to lead them. So anytime that you say yes to something, that is impactful to the people around you. And the times that you say no to something, that is impactful to the people around you. Now they realize, okay, I know that when I'm with them, they don't like that. And they'll say yes to these things. So whether you knew it or not, you are a leader. So last question for you, okay? And then I'll just jump off of this, okay? Not the stage. I fell off before, but beside the point. Maybe some other time. There's video evidence. But check this out. How well are you leading? Don't answer that question. Ooh, don't answer. Just let that keep you up at night, but don't answer it out loud. So if I just said that you obviously are following some people, you're a follower of some people, and now I just said that you're leading people, how well are you leading? And if you're being honest, you'd say, well, Josh, I just found out right now that I'm leading people. So I'm going to have to say, not very well, right? I didn't know the responsibility I had. I didn't know what was going on around me and the influence I had with people. So tonight's conversation, I want to help you not just live inspired, but to lead inspired. Because I think we can get a little bit better about leading. You cool with it? Awesome. So for our talk tonight, here's what I need. I'm going to need some volunteers, and this could get kind of messy and crazy. JD, help me out on the screens if we need it. So you 3, come on up right here if you would. You 3, come on up. All right, so you stand right here. Hang on, wait. You stand right there. You get on that side. I love it. All right. Wait, 3, 6. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. No, you're already on stage. You 2. Come on up, Miss Katie. We need everybody. We're going to have the whole youth group over here. You stand on this side, Miss Gracie. All right, perfect. All right, you're on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need one more on this side. Come on up. All right, y'all are on that side. Perfect. And y'all space out for Corona, okay? Don't let your parents watch this video and be like, that youth group gave my child Corona, right? Y'all space out accordingly. You can get back here too. You don't have to be like all the way down. You can get in the back too. All right, cool. All right, now on this side, all right, perfect. All right, perfect. So you're good there. Y'all can double up. We're good. JD may be too big of a shot. Sorry about that. Y'all may get cut off, but it's all good. We're going to go back and forth. So here's what I want us to look at tonight. There was actually a time in Scripture, believe this or not, when the disciples, how many disciples were there? I love that. 12. There were 12, right? In case you didn't know, hey, welcome to Squad. I'm Josh. Nice to have you here. We worship Jesus, Jesus, for our Espanol crowd. But there were 12 disciples. So there were 10 on this side and 2 on this side, all right, for this particular conversation. And the conversation I want to look at is actually after Jesus gets done teaching some people, and then he goes to his disciples, all 12, and says, hey, I know that we've done a lot of great things out there, right? Almost like the hoorah, the halftime speech kind of thing, getting everyone motivated, but it was the opposite. He goes, I know we've done a lot of good things out there, okay? We did some good stuff. We multiplied some food, okay? Well, I did, and y'all handed it out, so thank you for that. We healed some people, right? But I need you to know that we're about to go to a new city, and I'm going to be arrested and then executed. But in 3 days, if you went to that kind of church, you know, in 3 days, I'm going to get back up, okay? So it's all good. Let's go to this city. So now in your mind, you've seen Jesus do all these awesome things, and then he says that speech. And then it brings us to the conversation that followed between 4 people: Jesus, James, John, and their mother. Shout out to all the great moms out there. You're going to love your mom after this story. So check this out. It'll be on the screen for you if you want to turn to Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10. Here we go. Awesome. So here's and we'll stop and go, but check this out. So then James and John, so y'all be James and John. I know that the names don't quite match, but just for the sake of this illustration. So James and John, the sons of Zebedee, that was their father, okay? They called him. They came to Jesus, and they said, Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. Real quick, have you ever prayed something like that before to Jesus? I'm going to be honest. Yes. Yeah, I have to. Yeah. So I want you to do whatever I ask, okay? And the cool thing and the funny thing about this is that this, according to Matthew, wasn't actually your idea. That moms brought you up to it, and moms actually said, hey, let's go. And moms had the conversation. That's probably why here Mark is saying they were saying. He's speaking in plurals. But Matthew tells it like it was. He's like, your mama said. You brought your mom. You are like 30 years old. Didn't you bring your mom to have a conversation with Jesus? But that's what happened because moms go all out for their children, right? So check this out. Here's what Jesus responded with. What do you want me to do for you? And here comes moms, but Mark just says they. So next verse. They replied, let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory. So real quick, let's act that out. So if one of you will get on the right-hand side and you can face the crowd, the other on the left, perfect, you can come a little closer, boom. So this is a picture of what James and John and their mom wanted heaven to be like. That when you get there, you'd see Jesus, and then you see James and John. They wanted to be in the position of honor. That's what being on the right hand and the left hand side. Being on the right hand, that was the honor side. And left hand would be the second place, right? So that when you looked at Jesus, you would see them. But Squad, I wanted to make sure that you left here knowing that is not the point of your life. The point of your life is so that when people look at you, they see Jesus. That's what we're supposed to do. But James and John and moms was not having it that way. They said, when we look at Jesus, we want to make sure that we see James and John. Oh, and by the way, Jesus, you just said that you're about to kind of give up the ghost, right? You're about to hang this whole thing up. So we just want to be able to step in charge and be the next ones up. And it's cool. I'll let you be John. It's cool, John, because you are actually going to write a great gospel account. You're the beloved one, right? That's how you described yourself. Like you do so many great things. And James, you awesome too. So now let's look at how this conversation continues. You don't know what you're asking, is what Jesus said. How many times have you went up to your parents and said, hey, Mom, Dad, I want to get, and they said, no, you don't know what you're asking, right? My 4-year-old does this a lot. I want this. Like, son, you don't know what it requires to do that. You can't have that, okay? That's too much for you. But check this out. He said, you don't know what you're asking. And they replied, you don't know what you're asking. Can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? Translation, can you do it like me? Are you prepared to go through what I'm about to go through? Can you do the things that can you do it the way I've been doing it? Now let's bring it full circle to tonight's conversation. Can you lead the way that I have been leading? If the answer is no, that spot's not reserved for you. But here's their answer. How would you answer that question if Jesus said, could you do what I do? What would you say? No. And my honest answer, I'm like, no. But they are so caught up on themselves, right? Mom is here, right? Mom's is here. We got to do it. We got to button up, okay? So they responded with, we can. Say we can. We can, all right? So they said, we can. Jesus then said to them, check this out. He prophesied a little bit. He said, you will, actually. So you said, we can, and Jesus said, you will. You will drink the cup that I drink, and you'll be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But check this out. But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places, everybody say these places, belong to those for whom they have been prepared. So if y'all go right back over to the other side, perfect, right there. So these places have already been set aside and appointed for particular people. Now here's what's interesting. He said that you will drink my cup. You will be baptized the way that I was baptized. Now let me explain that. James, so Katie, you be James. Say, I'm James, right? Yep. So James would actually be executed by a king, like slashed with a sword, for being a Christ follower. Shout out to your future James, the fake you, right? So that's what would happen. So he would be killed for his faith, just as Jesus was executed, essentially for his faith, right? And John, you actually may have eventually died peacefully, but it was after some very difficult things you went through because of your faith. Like you would go around and you would talk about Jesus, and you would be arrested, and you would be punished in this way. They boiled up some oil and got it really steaming hot. I don't know if you've ever been near a grease, like pan and stuff like that, and just seen it, or seen a movie where like grease can mess you up. Stay away from grease. But John, they fired some up and put you in it. Somehow you survived it. Praise God. And then you got sentenced to having to work in mines on an island until you got too old, and then they said, okay, you can go home now because of your faith. And still Jesus is saying, although you're going to go through that, the right and the left is for an honored person. Thank you for your service, but I can't say that those spots are for you. But what it tells everyone, and you're about to see this, and y'all are about to come into play, all right? So here you come. They were wanting to lead and be next up. So how do you think everyone else responded? Not very good. So let's check out what happens on this side of the stage. When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Somebody make an indignant noise on this side. I love it. All right, so indignant, like you're upset and frustrated that how dare you, right? So if you would just like kind of turn your shoulder away from James and John, right? The hair flip was a little too much practice, I understand. So that's the feeling in the room. Now there's division in the room. Let me kind of move this out of the way so we can get a full picture. There is a gap in the room. If Jesus is on the way to this city and he just had a conversation with James and John about his right and his left, he is now standing in the gap that has been created because of their inspiration to be in front. They're upset, and they're feeling upset as well because they don't get to be in the place that they wanted to. And they're upset with them because they would dare to ask, but also because y'all wanted to as well. Judas, I know, okay? So this is the tension that's going on in this conversation. Are y'all ready to land this plane? Yeah. Look what happens next. Next verse, verse 42. Jesus called them, everybody say the word, together. Jesus, in a conversation about right and left, now has created division like in the group, then says, y'all come together. So if you would kind of join, come a little bit closer now. Yeah, there we go. And in this moment, he then continues to teach. And he says, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles, which is people who are not Jewish. So these would be Jewish people. We're all Jewish people right here that in this context that he's speaking. And those who don't believe in a God or the God, those people, he's saying that those rulers of the Gentiles, they lord it over them. The same way that we want followers and that we want like to be in charge and we want authority. He says they use it like it's a weapon. They make sure that people know that they are in charge. And they use it against those that they're ruling over. So it's like the thing that you're chasing, they essentially make it the Lord of their life. And he concludes and says this, and their high officials exercise authority over them. So just to let you guys know, authority and leadership is how other people, they use it against the people that they're ruling over. But he wasn't done teaching. And this is the big part, so I need you to hang into this little bit, and we're going to close, but I'm going to give you the secret to leadership. You can't tell anybody. Shh, it's a secret. Don't leave the room and talk about this last part, okay? We good? We're going to have to cut this clip off of YouTube so that no one knows about it. But here we go. I'm going to tell you guys. Next verse, verse 43. He says, that's how they are, not so with you. They act like they're the rulers and that they are in charge and they're the loudest ones, and they use it as a weapon almost over the people they're ruling. They're cruel to them. Not so with you. Translation, that's not how you will lead when I am gone. He's still teaching them. He says this, instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Don't sit at the table and choose from the menu, go get an apron. If you want to be the leader, then you have to be the servant. And whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. Translation, if you want to lead, then you need to lead from the back. If you want to be a leader, then the way you lead is from the back. And I will demonstrate that in a second, but check this last part out. For even the Son of Man, he's talking about himself right here, even the Son of Man did not come to be served. I didn't come here to have you take my order and do whatever I wanted you to do. Instead, it says he came to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So going back to James and John, are you sure that you can do the things that I do, the way I do? Can you lead from the back? Let me demonstrate this very practical. So if you fell somewhere along the way, come on back to us. Here we go. It would look like this. If I was a teenager and I was like rolling through the streets of your school and like, hey, what's going on? And like, high-fiving everybody on the way in. And I'm the one that everyone's following at your school on the gram. And I like got invited to hang out at Sway House and Hype House. And I'm trying to decide next semester which house I'm going to go to and be on a Netflix special. No big deal. Don't look it up. But if that was me, and I just want a following of people, I would do anything. If that's my goal, I would do anything just for the followers. I just want the people that want my attention. But when I'm by myself, there's still no one with me. I can be on my Instagram and I can post and I'm just waiting for more likes, and I still feel unfulfilled and uninspired because all I care about is the opinions of other people. And I'm serving their opinions. And then if I decide that I want to do something, I'll say, hey, let's go. Stay here. And I'll try to just be motivated myself. When I get where I want to be going, I'll turn around and there's no one with me. Because when you lead from the front, you don't know what's going on. Have you ever realized that there's a mirror in the car so you can see what's going on in the back? Now, don't be a backseat driver after this message. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's so easy for us to say, I want the followers, and I want them to be beneath me, so I'm going to make fun of them. I'm going to pick on them. I'm going to call them names, and then I'm going to go do what I want to do, and then I'm wondering why there's no one with me. But if I grant James and John their wish, and I set the example, hey, we're going to do things together. We're going to serve. Hey, what do you need? What can I help you with? Is there anything I can do for you? What can I help you pray about? I'm going to get to the back of the line. And what happens, as if you could take some steps and y'all just follow each other that way, what happens is from this angle, you can go down the steps carefully, though. Go ahead down the steps. There you go. I can make sure that everyone's going in the direction I want them to go, and they're going the way I want them to go, and that they're doing it safely because I was leading and guiding and directing by example from the back. Can we celebrate everyone for being our examples of disciples? Y'all were great. I know our auditions for our Christmas program, who we need to call on, right there. But does this make any sense? That I want you guys to just kind of unplug from wanting all the followers and all the attention, because when eyes are on you, are you going to be ready? Is that kind of what Jesus asked? Like, hey, can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink? Can you do it like me? Because we want all the followers and all the attention, but still, at 9 p.m. in your room, you're by yourself craving more attention. So what if you just unplug from that and use the secret sauce to leadership, and you began serving the people you want to be leading? You went up to the people you have influence with and asked, how can I help you? What can I help you pray about? Because that's going to carry more influence when you care about someone else than anything you can ever do for their popularity or their image, is when they know that you actually and genuinely care for them. And that's how Jesus taught leadership. So tonight, we want you to leave here not just living inspired, but leading inspired. So that when people look at you, they see Jesus, not the other way around. Don't let them drive by here and say, oh, that's where Lily goes to church. Oh, that's where Wyatt with the good hair goes to church. When I look at Wyatt with the good hair, right? When I see Jesus, when I see that church, I think of Wyatt with the good hair. No. We want you to look at Wyatt with the good hair and see Jesus. Not because he is Jesus. Don't get it twisted. Not because he has good hair, although this is true, but because of how he's living his life to serve the people around him. And just imagine how this could impact everything. If you go home and you serve the people around you, and you go home and you serve the people around you, and you go to home and you go to school and you serve the people around you, and you go to your teacher and say, hey, how can I help you today? Do you know what that's going to do for those people? By changing one element, one circle around you, it will change the world. Just the same way that one man and 12 of his followers changed the world. Not because they lorded their authority over people and said, do it like this or else, and not because they were harsh with it, but because they served people by showing and sharing the love of Jesus. So squad, with that, I want us to pray and then invite you to take one more step. Hey, thank you so much for watching this message at CrossPointe Church and our youth group. If you want to receive Christ as your personal Savior, we're so excited for you making that decision, but perhaps you want to know more about what that means and, of course, what's next. So please go to the description, check out those links to find out more information, and, of course, reach out and we can schedule your baptism whenever you're ready. But thank you again for watching. Have a great rest of your week, and we love you guys.